we're on to week 3 of rearing death's head hawk-moth caterpillars, and since the last video there has been considerable growth and change. They're starting to look like small versions of their final form in the larval stage. They're already an impressive looking caterpillar, and in this video, because of the growth of these larvae, they're going from being kept singly in these size containers to being kept in 3s in this size container, and then probably in another week's time they'll have outgrown these containers and will need larger containers for their final development. But for now, we'll have a look at how these have grown and changed since the last video. Well, as you can see, there has been great development in these caterpillars, and this is a process or part of the development that all caterpillars go through. If you're rearing caterpillars for the first time, you may be alarmed that periodically your caterpillar stops eating for several days and does this: it sheds its skin. Caterpillars can only grow if they remove the old skin, and which allows for expansion and growth in the new skin. And you can tell that this caterpillar is in the process of that by the head capsule. The old head is now over the mouth of the caterpillar. They can breathe, of course, because caterpillars breathe through spiracles down the sides of the body. There's one spiracle on each section. These become more obvious as the caterpillar grows. But it's perfectly fine. In fact, you can see the new head under the old skin. And so this one will probably have shed its skin within a few hours. If they are doing this, it's best not to muck around with them too much. For once the skin change has been completed and everything is okay, this is what you get: a 4th instar death's head hawk-moth larva that has really completely changed from what we saw in its 3rd instar. This is now 4th instar, of course, and there's one more skin change to go before these do become monsters. They become huge. This caterpillar is only about 1.5 inches in length, and like most hawk-moth caterpillars, they adopt that sphinx-like resting position. But it's certainly changed a lot. Look at the horn now. The horn is now shepherd's crook-like. It's lost that black coloration, but it's covered in little tiny nodules, as are the first 2 or 3 sections at the back of the head of the larva. It's almost got a punk-style haircut. Quite magnificent, and that will remain like that through to pupation. The larva has become more yellowish, and the stripes are now visible, beautifully coloured in a soft sort of powder blue and edged in a slightly more brighter yellow. Beautiful things, they really are. But it's the amount of growth that this caterpillar is going to put on in the final instar, and that's when you'll realise what all the fuss is about. But it's rehouse time now, moving these caterpillars from this sized container, which is more than adequate for the early instars, as long as they're cleaned out daily and any moisture is wiped out. You don't want moisture and droppings because mould soon forms. But these containers I've always used for the larger hawk-moth caterpillars in the early instars. But now it's time to move them from that into this, and there'll be 3 in each of 2 of these. And it's a simple process, and it's following the same general principles of rearing Lepidoptera. Well, here's our container, and because there's going to be more larvae in here, there's going to be more drop-ins, and so this is at the stage where I line these larger containers just with some tissue that helps to absorb any moisture from the food plant and the drop-ins. So we need some food plant going in. This of course is privet. As a general rule, don't overcrowd too much, but make sure they've got plenty to go at. And then it's a simple matter of taking your old larva. Always avoid touching them. You can stroke them if you want when they're full grown, because they are rather nice to touch. And so I'll get out our second. It was tucked on the end here, and we need a third. Which is this one here. So that's 3 in there. Put the lid on securely, and job done. That's all there is to it. And same principle, clean them out daily. Don't allow the drop-ins to build up, and remove the tissue and change that. So that's it, at least for this week. Growth is getting faster, and will get even faster for these instars and for these 6 death's head Hawk-moth caterpillars. From now on, this is where they really start to come into their own, and it really starts to become worthwhile, shall we say, and you're getting your reason for wanting to rear these magnificent caterpillars. Of course, better is still to come when the moth eventually emerges in a few weeks' time. But we're not at that stage yet. This is week 3. Week 4, not surprisingly, comes next week.